Hi folks, this is Ed, and welcome to my Getting Started with Boto training video. So what is Boto, you ask? Well, Boto is a Python library that allows you to interact and automate various components of Amazon Web Services, including EC2 and S3, all using Python. So the requirements for this demo are Python 2.6 or 2.7, the Python Package Manager, and an AWS account. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to create a user in AWS. We're going to create a group with power user privileges that will allow access to the EC2 instance, and we'll add that user to the group. We're going to launch an EC2 instance, and then we will go ahead and install boto. We'll set up our environment and write our very first Python script to control that EC2 instance. So let's get started. Alright, we're first going to get started by creating our user, and to do that we're going to go into Identity and Access Management under Users and create a new user. We'll call this user boto_user, and you want to make sure that the generate and access key for each user is selected, because that's actually the access key that we're going to be using later on in boto. So go ahead and create, and we have two options. We can show the security credentials, or we can download those credentials. Now what I'm going to do in this case is just copy and paste this into a text editor over to the side, and then we will use this later on to set up our config file to allow boto access to the API. Alright, and once again it is warning you that if you do not download these credentials now, that you will not have another chance to do this. You'll have to delete the user and recreate it. So make sure you get that, you capture that information before you close. Alright, well, so now we have a user, but the user still does not have permissions or access to be able to start or stop those EC2 instances. So the next thing we'll do is go into our groups and create a new group. We'll call this boto group, and we're going to attach a policy. In this particular case, I will use the power user access. This is entirely up to you, whatever works in your environment. For this demo, we're just going to use the power user access, which gives that user access to be able to do everything with the EC2 instance that we'll be doing for this example. And we're all set. We can click on the group and actually add our boto user to that group. And there we go. We're all set. So our user boto_user now has permissions to be able to access the EC2 instance that we're going to set up next. Alright, next step, we're going to create our EC2 instance. Now, boto does allow you to actually launch a new EC2 instance as well as terminate. However, in this particular video, we're just going to focus on the initial setup of boto and doing a simple start and stop. We're not going to look at setting those instances up. So for that, we're just going to use the web interface to create our instance. So let's go into EC2. We're going to launch an instance. I'm just going to pick the basic Amazon Linux, and for all of these we're going to go ahead with the defaults. Add storage, tag the instance. This I like to put a name to it, and for this we'll use boto_EC2. So here we'll just pick the default security group. Now SSH is not needed for the API, but we'll have it configured anyway. And we'll review and launch. And select a key pair. So I'm just going to use an existing key pair. And there we go. We're going to launch the instance. So let's go back, take a look. And there you go. So our instance is starting at this time. It's getting set up. So while we wait for this to happen, let's go ahead and get our boto environment set up. So here we are at the command line, and the first thing we'll want to do is install boto. To do that, we'll run pip install boto. And as you can see, it's a really simple install. And from here, we can actually start configuring and getting our environment set up to actually access the API. So in order to connect to the API, we're going to use the access key pair that we downloaded when we created the user. By default, that file is actually going to be located in your home directory in a file called .boto. In my example, I've put everything into a separate directory, the boto_env that you see, and because of that, we'll need to tell boto where the new location of that .boto file is. And to do that, we'll just set up an environment variable. So we export the boto config and set that to boto_env.boto. Next, we'll create the .boto file. And we start with credentials and AWS_access_key_ID equals. And what we'll do is we'll take our key ID that we downloaded for our boto_user and enter that. The next is our secret access key. So that'll be AWS_secret_access_key equal, and we'll copy and paste my access key. And there you have it. Let's write and save this. And just to be extra safe, we'll chmod it to 600. So go on ahead and split the screen so that you can see both the EC2 management console and the command line. So we see our EC2 instance is running, and we have our command line, and we can go ahead and get started on our very first Python script that will shut down that particular instance. So in Python, we're going to first import the boto EC2 library, and then we will create a connection to the region that this EC2 instance is in. Now, in my case, you'll see that my EC2 instance is in the US East 1 region. This might be different for you, so just keep in mind to take a look at that before you run this. So we'll create an object. EC2 dot connect to region. And this function we're going to use to actually connect to the region US East 1. All right, so now we're connected to that region, and we'll actually be able to now start or stop this instance. So since it's already running, we will go ahead and stop it. So the function is stop underscore instances, and we're going to give it instance IDs is equal to, and this again will be different in your situation, where we're going to look for the instance ID of the particular instance that we're wanting to shut down. For mine, it will be the I1D 9489E7 instance. All right, so let's go ahead and see what happens. Now, if you look up at the management console, right now you're not seeing anything. It still shows as running. But what I've actually found is it doesn't necessarily reflect that it's been shut down. So just go ahead and do a refresh of the page, and you'll see that our instance is stopped. Now, to go ahead and start the instance again, the function name is start underscore instances, and everything else is the same as the stop. So let's see what happens here. And go ahead and refresh. So there we go. Our EC2 instance is up and running, and that will conclude this video. And our next video, we'll talk about how to launch and terminate EC2 instances, as well as how to create elastic block store volumes and attach those to the EC2 instances. I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions, as always, please put your questions in the comment section below, and have a good day.